Welcome to the Crowned Medium with your host, Miranda Carr.
Hello, everybody. We are live on all the platforms and ready to roll. Welcome to my Monday Night Mania round 2, where I am welcoming my good friend. I was thinking about this. I've known you for a very long time.
Have you?
I have.
I was thinking about that earlier. I think Krista referred you.
Yes. And I've known Krista for over 20 years.
Wow.
That's crazy. So let me do a quick little intro. I'm going to be, if you guys want to see my special guest over here in TikTok world, go to the Miranda Carr Medium other platforms, or you can hang out and just listen and do whatever, do your dishes, clean up, have a little dinner, whatever you're doing. A little vino, I don't care. All right. So tonight on Monday Night Mania, I am happy to welcome my friend, Debbie Loshbough. She's a master energetic detective. I just like to say that. Can I just say that?
Yeah.
Healer, facilitator with over 2 decades of experience, working at the deepest level of transformation. And I'm going to give my own testimonial on that as we go. Debbie's work spans physical, emotional, subconscious, ancestral, energetic plane. She's known for her powerful ability to uncover the true roots of imbalance. Again, witnessed, felt it. Her signature method, energetic fusion, is a layered corrective approach that brings profound alignment. It sounds so fancy, doesn't it? And healing. This is a conversation for healers, intuitives, and anybody ready to understand what real root level healing actually looks like. So welcome, Debbie. I'm so happy to have you on here.
I know it took us a minute to pull this off, but I'm glad we did.
I know. Well, people think I'm busy, but girl, it takes me weeks to get into you. And I know for a fact that you work like this is your full-time job. It's not like, I only work a day or two.
Right.
It's hard to get into you because what you do, again, from my own experience, is fantastic. It's fantastic. And I can't wait to share my version of everything. I know. Well, because again, and I think that you and I are very similar in the way we work. It's not like you take really good notes. I will say that because you do remember things from meeting when we work together, where I don't. I just like it flows in and out. Nothing. I got nothing. People are like, remember that time? No. Remember that reading? No, I don't. I would love to, but no, I don't. Where you tend to actually remember things. I'm very impressed by that.
Oh, I write them down. Trust me.
So hello over in TikTok world. Hi, Rebecca. I'm just making sure we include the group here. So I've got my guest, Debbie Loshbough, over on the UB, Tubi, Doobie, Doobie, Dabba Diba, and the Bookie Facey that we can't say all those words on TikTok for whatever reason.
Right? Oh, wow.
Tell us they're just like, we're not going to put you out to everybody to see you. So I know you've never said that because I'm never on at night, right? Thank you, Rebecca. All right. So Debbie.
Yes.
Tell me about your journey to how you got to where you are. Don't you love that question?
I do.
I get asked that in every single podcast.
It's a story.
I know. Well, so is mine. So take it away. I want to hear it. I want to hear this.
I spent, let me see how much I want to give away my age. I spent over 25 years in IT. I was a business analyst. I wasn't really coding, but I would take the business owner's request, what those people wanted, and I would translate it to techie language for the tech team. And I would write their requirements, and we'd talk about how it was going to be done and figure out how long it was going to take and all those things, which is amusing today because I still find when I'm writing, taking notes like you were talking about, I'm writing requirements. So these ancient IT skills still come into play in my woo-woo world. Excuse me. All right, somebody's got a throat chakra issue. So let me just
What?
clear that up because it means I can't talk very well. So, all right, any more clearing, energizing, white, yellow, orange, red, green, blue, violet, electric violet, putting electric violet light into the throat chakra. When I have to use electric violet, it generally implies that somebody's struggling with the incoming energies that are so intense, and they will either shut the chakras down or blow them out completely. So,
Oh, wow.
so yeah, that's always a good clue. But I'm a bit of an empath. It's controllable and it doesn't bother me. But I know when I can't talk, somebody's got a throat chakra, whether it's you or somebody in the audience. So took care of that.
Woo.
Anyway,
Done.
so in 2008, I was 50 years old, and my mother wanted to send me on a trip. Now, that's her thing. She loves to travel, and I hate to travel because I was an Army brat. I moved every 3 years. It doesn't hold much glory for me, but I was like, okay, send me to Florida to the Louise Hay I Can Do It conference. And so she did the whole big ticket, the week-long thing. And each day you got to spend the morning with one author and the afternoon with another. And I did Colette Baron Reed. I did, who's the man and woman? He's dead now. Gosh.
Oh, well,
yes.
Dolores Cannon?
No.
No, I'll say they're both dead now.
There's somebody in the audience will know. I can see her clear as day. And they're the abundance people, the positive thinking people, all that. Anyway,
okay.
Did a session with them. Now, I had a friend who lives down there in Florida, and she's a medical, not a medium, a medical intuitive.
Intuitive, okay.
She will tell you all the way down to your DNA what your body is saying to you. She is remarkable. And she used to live in Atlanta, and I saw her a lot, but I hadn't seen her in years. And I was like, hey, I'm in town for this conference. Do you want to go have lunch? And so we did. And she said, who are you seeing this afternoon? And oh God, I can't believe I'm losing names here. Brian Weiss.
Brian Weiss. Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
And this is a pretty huge conference. I mean, I saw Greg Braden, I saw Doreen Virtue. I saw all of them this year that I was there. So she said, and I'm like, what does that mean? And she said, well, he does beautiful work. It's powerful work, past lives and all of those things. She said, but you are in a room of 100 people. She said, please don't go too deep. And that made sense to me.
Yeah.
But when I went back to the hotel after lunch, I was like, maybe that's my clue. I'm not supposed to go to that one. And so I took him off the list. And then I didn't know anybody else on the list having seminars that afternoon. All these Hay House authors, I knew none of them. And then I saw Dr. Darren Wiseman, Infinite Love and Gratitude. And I thought, I could use some of that, right?
We could use that. All right.
So I went to his seminar, and it was 2 hours, and I can't say there was anything special. Like, he did do a real brief session, but it was on somebody who'd quit smoking and started again and wanted to go back and quit. I mean, it didn't have anything to do with me, but I sat there for 2 hours and sobbed. And I was like, and then when I came out of there, I had to sit on a bench for an hour and a half. I mean, I was really completely, and I was like, I have no idea what just happened to me, but I'm supposed to do that. And I went immediately upstairs and I signed up for the class. He had 3 long weekends in Chicago, and I did all of those. Then there was a verbal test where you're walking through with somebody asking certain questions, and then he'll say switch, and suddenly the other person's the healer and you're the client. And then there was a written exam where you had to draw this whole flow chart he's got. It's so much. It took me 8 hours to finish this exam. I had my hand dumped in ice because I get writer's cramp really bad.
Yeah.
And you had to have a pretty high score. I think it was 90 or above to get certified, and I did.
Wow.
And I started, I was still working at the time until 2009. And I finished the last class about a month before I stopped working there. Because when I came home from that class, I was told I would be laid off. Now, I was told my job was going to, it's not Malawi, some country. And I was like, that is not even a country. I never heard of it. I'm like, and I'm pretty smart. Okay. And it turns out it is a country. The only way I know that is because I saw the Olympics and they had 6 athletes come in. So, so it is a country.
It is a place. Okay.
So I had to teach my job to people who didn't live in this country and didn't speak the language. It was quite a mess trying to have the conversations. And I was lucky enough that I had been there for 14 years. So I got a nice little severance package. So I didn't have to rush to find work. It took me a year to find another job. And I did the, y'all may not know about this if you're not people in the South, but there was a merger of Wells Fargo and Wachovia. And I was part of that team. And I lived in Charlotte, North Carolina. They paid me per diem. So I was making all kinds of money just because they were forcing me to live in North Carolina. I knew nobody. And even at work, I knew nobody because my actual Wells Fargo team was in Minneapolis. So I worked in the Wachovia building. It was the loneliest time of my life.
Wow, I bet.
Yeah. And so anyway, I came back and that was only a limited contract. They only let you work 18 months. No matter how you did it, you had to have 18 months off before they would hire you again as a contractor. So I came back to Atlanta and I started putting out resumes, and my resume was stellar. I was 25 years in the business and I was a senior business analyst. And I don't put anything on my resume that I can't testify to because I'm a horrible interview. Not this kind of interview, but a business interview.
Well, I guess we'll find out soon.
Right. I should have told you that, huh? No, I was a really bad job interview. I just had so much anxiety and all of this stuff. So I would never lie on a resume because I don't want to have to answer for something I can't explain.
You didn't do. Right.
And I bet I had 500 top-notch resumes out on the market. I did not get one interview, not one phone call, not one anything in over a year. Well, at one point I had moved back to Huntsville, Alabama, to where my parents lived, to help my mother because my dad was getting sick and he had sundowners and she was just really way too much for her.
Yeah.
And so then after he passed, my sister and I talked her into moving here. Now she was in independent living, but she did require a lot of interaction. She wanted a best friend and she wanted me to be that. And I was laid off. I wasn't working.
What else am I going to do?
But I was looking and I just could not find anything. If I had found something, it would have been difficult for me to give her the care she needed emotionally and to do a full-time job. And I started getting desperate. I started saying, okay, how about part-time? I interviewed at Macy's. I had worked there seasonally.
Yeah.
They didn't want me. I even went to 2 Starbucks interviews, if you can believe that.
Are you kidding? And you couldn't get the job?
No. And so finally I was having this little chat with God and I said,
listen.
I said, I'm doing my best here. I can't find a full-time job. I even decided I could live with a part-time job and that might work really well with my mom and stuff. And there's still nothing. Like, what is this? And I heard this voice that said,
because you're not psychic or intuitive. You just hear things.
This voice said, you said you wanted a full-time healing practice. You are going to have a full-time healing practice. No side jobs, no Starbucks, no nothing. You're going to have a full-time healing. And
you did ask for it.
first of all, be careful what you ask for, right?
Right.
And then I continued to take care of my mom. And I had a few clients, really wasn't enough to make a living off of, but it just all was so set up for me because, you know, taking care of my mom and all of those things. We're going to the grocery store. We buy groceries for Deb too. And I ate at her house a lot. And there was just a lot of things that fell into place to allow me financially to move forward. And as I did that, I built my business up. And I don't do this anymore, but so many people ask me about marketing. And I'll tell you exactly what I did for the first probably 8 to 10 years was I said, you send me a client. If they buy a session, then you get your next one free. And by God, these people wanted those sessions, you know.
Yeah.
So I don't tell anybody that anymore. I say, give them the next one 50% off. But it was a strategy that worked for me.
Mm-hmm.
And in the meantime, I just became this sponge for healing work. I learned pranic healing. I was part of the founding of Atlas Balancing, which is now called Tao Sound Codes, which is a sound healing modality that can help put your atlas in place, and it is done remotely. And it's pretty, it is my most sacred work. You know, like I didn't necessarily get certified in everything I knew, but just like me knowing for myself how to clear chakras, I cannot tell you how much that has helped me not get sick and take care of pain and just to know what's going on in my own body. I don't know how people live without knowing how to do this. So anyway,
We call you.
yep, you do. And, or people do rather.
Yeah.
And so, you know, that is kind of the way I went from, I call it from high tech to high vibe. And, it just built from there. And then I had a friend in, Columbus, Georgia. She said, I got somebody I want you to meet. And she had gone to work with her. And this girl's name is Karina, and her business was hhcollectivewellness.com. And she'd been bedridden for 3 years. She still has a lot of pain, but she was bedridden for 3 years, and no doctor in the world could tell her what was going on. Wow. She found holistic health. She's on her feet now and all these things. And my friend was like, you'll need to meet. And it's like, great, cool. And we tried to set it up. And finally I said, okay, I'm going to stop bothering you. This is going to be my last attempt for us to set up something to do. And, you know, if you just want to experiment and see what it's like and all of that. And she's like, no, let's do it. Let's do it. And we got on Zoom and we got to know each other and did a session, and she took it from there. I've been working, I mean, I have my own private clients, but I've been working with her ever since, because if I take a private client, I have to do the booking, and then they want to cancel or reschedule. I have to do that. I have to do the whole payment system. Working with Karina, she does all of that for me. She does the scheduling, she does the billing, she does the marketing, she does the Instagram, which I don't even know how to get on Instagram. And right. I'm a Facebook gal, and I don't let clients on my Facebook page. So that's just worked out perfectly for me. I do 5 clients a day. It's 55 minutes per session. And I have a 30 minutes at least between, 90 minutes for lunch. And I have to do it that way. That's the only way I can do 5 clients a day. It's a lot.
That's a lot.
Energetically. And I'm talking for 5 hours a day, nonstop. And so that is how I got from IT to, it was definitely a God shot, you know, leap or be dragged, and you know, took away all my other possibilities. So what was I going to do?
But that's crazy. Like, that's just wild how you're right. God, universe, spirits, whoever just was like, oh, well, actually, this is, good on you for doing that for all those years, but new direction.
Exactly.
New direction.
Pretty much the way it happens with me.
Wow.
Leap or be dragged. So
Well, and honestly, I've been working with you for so long. Like I just text you, I'm like, hey, need a session. And you just tell me like what, and actually, when I was kind of doing research for this, I'm like, I got to ask questions. I know she does more than what she does just for me. I'm a Leo, so everything's about me. Right. Um, and so I looked up, I'm like, oh my gosh, she does so many cool things.
Yeah.
Why don't I do any of these things? But also, my spirit team, I feel, tells me what I need in the moment, what I need to know. And it was wild how yeah, you and I met through Krista, my former marriage therapist from like 20 years ago. Now we're actual friends, and she's had me on there and do stuff, and like on her podcast. She's been on my morning show, and we've done quite a bit of like little projects and stuff together, and she's awesome. But yeah, she aligned me with you, gosh, probably 2018.
Yeah, that sounds
2018.
great.
And I'm that person that goes in stints. Like we just go in, I'll do like 6, 8, a few months, and then I'll be like, listen, I need you to clear. I got stuff going on. And you'll do the things in the infinite love and gratitude. And I just take it all in. And I tell you what, I tell this story a lot. I didn't necessarily believe. It's not that I didn't believe in energy healing. I just had never experienced it. And Krista was like, girl, you are a train wreck. You need like, and that's how she talks. She's like, you're a mess. You need to go get, and she goes, because of everything that I had been through and survived, and family and friends, and like just a divorce, giving birth 3 times, like all the things. She's like, it'll be good for you. You need to call my friend Debbie. I was like, okay. And that first
I've
time,
always wondered how you felt that first session.
oh my, well, you told me, and it was, I'll never forget this, because we were getting ready to leave the country. We were getting ready to go on vacation on a Viking river cruise.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember telling you, I was like, all right, listen, we're going to do all this work. And you said, well, and we did so much work, because there was stuff that was just stuck in my body that I had already been to therapy for. I had already processed. My brain was perfectly fine with all these things, but energetically, I was still drawing people in my world that had gone through similar experiences. And I'm like, listen, I'm tired of talking about this. And it was very traumatic. It'd be like if, I'll just say it, as I'm very open about my situation. I had been SA'd back in the day when I was a kid, and that's something that just carried with me. And then I had issues like ongoing, and I was convinced that I had been a horrible person in a past life, and somehow I had earned it. But I really felt like that I needed to get rid of this. And I remember you doing your thing, and I had no idea what you were doing, but I didn't care. You were doing your thing, and you said, oh, so apparently you have taken on the karma of like your family or something like that. I can't, the taking on their contract. I can't remember how you put it. And I was like, well, that tracks. You're like, we probably should break that. And I said, okay. And you said to me, keep in mind when this, because I had said to you, like, again, this is the first time we worked together. You'd said, now, just so you know, when we do this kind of work, change happens. And I'm like, okay. Again, I've never experienced it before. I'm like, what could go wrong? How bad could it be?
This sounds terrible. I can't wait to hear the
It
end.
was awful. Oh my God, it was awful. And you're like, just so you know, when we break these contracts, people might stop talking to you. No, that's nah. Yeah. So fast forward to like majority of the people in my life quit talking to me, including my own daughter. And there was just a lot. And you and I have worked a lot together since then to clear out that trauma, that energy, all the stuff that I was processing, going through, just dealing with that.
Mhm.
But you also are like, well, now that we've broken all these contracts, we've cleared all this energy, you might have a reaction. And I was like, what do you mean reaction? And you're like, well, it's got to come out. It's going to come out. And I'm telling you, I'm pretty sure, like, for the next 24 hours, I was in the bathroom nonstop. I had like one of the worst cycles of my existence. I broke out in a fever. I was sweating nonstop, lasted 24 hours, and then it was done. And I was never energetically bothered by any of the things that I had initially come to you for. Like, it just literally just left my body. And I knew that it had processed in my mental mind. I had already worked it out. I had already worked it out in other ways. But whatever you did your thing and your things, and I still don't know what you do. I just sign up for it because I know it works.
This is what everybody says to me, and I say I don't know what I do either.
Right.
But it works.
But it works. And so, and I have never had to look back on that again. Since working with you, I've never looked back to that. And you and I've worked, you've worked with me for a very long time in spurts where it just kind of all builds up. And then I'm like, all right, that's it. I'm calling Debbie. I can't deal with this on my own. And I've learned in the meantime how to do a lot of my own energetic processing. I have a lot of mentees that do stuff. And so, like, I'll get some work done here and there. I've got a local friend who does Reiki, and I'll go see her sometimes, because sometimes it's nice to have, to experience it in real time. And, but if I'm calling you, there's been a buildup. And at one point I said, this was after, you might remember this. Again, I'm still not buying all of it. I'm not even a practicing medium at this point. I'm doing tarot, and I had been asking you to help clear any blockages that might be stopping me from stepping into my mediumship, because there just seemed, I kept hitting a wall and hitting a wall. I've been told I'm a medium, but I can't do it, blah, blah, blah. And I remember at one point, one of the things on the agenda was talk about mediumship. And the other thing was how in my house, everyone was really mean and grouchy.
Mm.
And you started doing your thing, and you're like, there's a demon in your house. And I'm like, I don't even believe in those. And then all of a sudden, the second I said, I don't even believe it, it's like slow motion. All of a sudden, I get this energetic, like clairvoyance, like in my head, or claircognizance. I'm like, I see myself in my office slammed against the wall, like I'm watching myself, and this thing is coming at my face. And everything in my office was from my friend who had unalived herself and her sister, and her mother had done it 2 months prior. And somehow I ended up with all that stuff in my house. And you're like, why do you think they did all that? And then you're like, how about we get that out of your house? I'm like, I think that's a great idea. You should do that. I don't know if I believe in it, but I think it's wise that we do that. And you did that, and the energy of like everyone in my house changed. The vibe in my house was completely cleared. So even though I didn't know how to put words to it at that time, I knew whatever you did worked.
Yep.
Then coming to you.
And that's a lot of what people ask for me, is like, especially people that are unwell all the time, often have entities and stuff like that. I do not call them demons anymore. That was a very old version of me, but because it summons up so many stuff,
Right.
so much stuff in people. But there are entities, and there are, energies. I check that each person over 18. I do not check children, because they don't get on children. I check animals, all the animals in the house. I check the house separately, and then I check the property. And I clear whatever I can clear. And sometimes people are really astounded at how much better they feel. And that's one of I think you were looking at the site and seeing all the different things I did.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of remotes that I do without you. And attachment clearings are one of them. And when you get an attachment clearing, I check, all the people, all the pets, and the house and the property. But the only thing you get back is done.
Done.
Because people want to all go into who was it and how did they get there and are they ancestors? And I'm like, I do not engage with these things.
No,
I have no information for you. You paid me to clear them. That's what happened. And
I've learned to never ask. I've just really I got it. Cool. Can you get rid of it? Great. I'll take it all in.
And then another thing I do is a health chart. And it's a series of things I put together from various modalities of, one part is things that I can look at: lymphatic system, digestive system, the I am body, the meridian treatment. And the other part is specific modalities. And I don't even know what some of these are. I've tried to look them up. A lot of this comes out of SRT, spiritual response therapy. And it was made decades ago. But you know what? It works. I don't have to know what it is, as usual.
Right.
And then I will, when I'm with you in a session, I will go look at pathogens. And you'd be astounded. Some people have 300 or 400 pathogens and they don't really feel bad. They just feel normally like they feel, which is not great. But there will be dormant pathogens and ancestral, genetic, generational pathogens. There will be unknown pathogens, and that's okay. Again, I don't have to know what they are. I can still get rid of them.
Right.
So health charts are very, very popular. At one point, I got to doing a solar remote because so many people were having so much trouble with the sun. It's just getting stronger and stronger. And it's almost like pure radiation right now. And I had learned from a friend about a part of the brain called the corona radiata. Well, guess what that translates to? Corona, sun, radiata, radiation. And it's a part of the brain that carries light. And I will see how your solar body is doing. And then I will see how much light is in their body. And it should be 100. Sometimes it's 700, 800, 900, 9 times too much. And when you have that, that corona radiata will not be functioning properly. And then I'll ask what systems, organs, or glands are affected by this solar activity. A lot of times from solar flares and things like that. And then I'll correct that. So yeah, there's a lot of stuff I do that's different. And there's a video out on the HH site called the Meet and Greet. And we talk about most all of it and what it's used for and things like that. And then there's my favorite testimonial in that meet and greet. And so I do a lot of different things. Most of them are in that remote category. You don't see me, you don't talk to me. You ask for a health chart. And I mean, there are hundreds of testimonials about these health charts that people think they're great. It's not for long-term chronic stuff. It's like, I got a cold and I feel terrible, or my headache won't go away, or it's acute things. Because the problem I was having is people can't get in to see me for a month, and stuff happens between the month they see me and the next month they see me. And we had nothing to cover that. I can't give you another session because there's an integration period and I can't work on you during that integration period. Plus, I don't have the time. So we came up with this health chart and that really works well. So yeah, that's another part of it, that once you have a session with me, I always talk about it like the turkey roaster after Thanksgiving, where you do your best to clean it out and you can't get it all. You do your best, but you dump it, you fill it with water, crap floats to the top, you dump it out, you do it again.
That's a really good analogy, actually.
How this works,
That's a really, really good okay, that's a funny analogy.
Yeah, well, it's true.
It is true, yeah.
People have 40 things on their list and they think they're going to do a session and it's going to be magically fixed overnight. That is not the way it works.
No, and even with what the energy work that you and I have done together, well, a year ago before my surgery, you did all that stuff leading up to my surgery, getting my body energetically ready for surgery and finding really the root cause. And what's interesting is what I knew it was never about my meniscus. I knew there was something else going on. And you were like, yeah, the meniscus is fine. It's just something else going on. Like whatever it was you said was going on was actually what was going on. No doctor would listen.
Mm-hmm. And I'm like, and how could a doctor listen? I mean, one of the things I told you is that knees are about the heart chakra and relationships. So tell a doctor that, yeah, that's going to be helpful.
Yeah, that's going to go over well. Okay, King of Swords, thinking mind only. Let me tell you about the heart chakra, and it's not working.
Yeah,
it's not happening. But in that time, it really did help in my recovery. I feel like working with you helped my recovery. But one thing I will say, like I come with a list of things that I know that I want to work on, that I know intuitively because I'm, I don't know if you know this, but I'm a psychic. I know it's so weird. And I'll just know that there are things that are lingering, but I don't necessarily know how to get to deal with it. And sometimes I just don't want to. Sometimes I'm just lazy and I want to not work on myself. So, and plus I get to see.
And working on yourself is not always helpful. I don't work very well on myself. I have healers. So.
Yes. And so we'll keep that running list. And then just every few weeks after, so that you'll be like, and how many weeks? 1, 2, 3, 3 weeks. Okay, good. And then we'll schedule for 3 weeks out before you work with me again. And you're pretty hardcore on that. Like, no, you need to integrate what's going on.
Yeah. I don't like to waste people's money. And if I work on you before you're fully integrated, we're just not going to get as much because you're not fully integrated. So yeah, I make people wait.
Yeah. But I mean, I will say, like, I've come to you over all these years for a lot of things that I never would have thought that a single person, one person could cover. And you managed to do all of it. And I can say with absolute certainty, like, you've made a huge difference in my life, and I appreciate what you do. And I know there's so many other things that you do. And I know I promised a testimonial, but then I forget. So here we are. This is it. We can use this. I'll clip it for you. You're welcome. But I have had you on. I'm very selective about who I put on my website as far as referring people. And you've been on my website for a long time because I do appreciate the work you do. And so I guess what so I know what I know in the working with you. Mm-hmm. But what would you say outside of, I don't know, I have a couple different questions, but they're totally opposite.
We'll figure it out. Shoot.
So what's your favorite, what would you say your favorite modality is, like the favorite thing that you do for people, or the thing that you do in the energy work? I know you said that there was something you do that is sacred work to you.
Yes,
would that your favorite thing, or you just feel like, tell me?
Yeah, it is. It's Dao sound codes. And sometimes the frequency of that is so high, and it's vocal toning. Okay. It's sound healing, but it's vocal. And sometimes the frequency is so high, it knocks the internet out. It'll be in and out, in and out. And I'm like, it doesn't matter. You're still getting it.
You're still getting it. Yeah.
Yeah. And well, I probably shouldn't go into it because chiropractors will argue with me, but a lot of people spend a lot of money for upper cervical stuff. And this is a one-time thing. You have a follow-up 2 weeks after that that's free. And it doesn't mean you'll never have any subluxations or anything out. I mean, if your back doesn't go out every once in a while, you could really be hurt. You could fracture something if it didn't move the way it should. But your atlas pretty much stays in place. And the way this works is you can go online and you can look up acoustic levitation, and you will see a drop of water in the air by itself, and there's a sound frequency above it and one below it, and that's what's making it float.
Okay.
And I believe, we weren't taught this, but I believe that's how the Dow's House sound codes work, is the sound allows the atlas to float enough to where I can move it into place, as opposed to that of an adjustment. It's not an adjustment. And that area is just too tender to take even a mild adjustment. This just works better because it's sound, because it's floating, because we can move it into place. People are like, you can't do that remotely. And I'm like, yep, I got the testimonials to prove it.
Yeah.
So yeah, that is my most sacred work. I'm so fulfilled when I finish an Atlas balancing session. And so yeah, that would be my number one.
All right. Well, you're going to have to text me with an appointment for that, I feel like.
Okay.
Adding that to my list.
I mean, everybody needs it. Everybody's Atlas is out, but not everybody feels it. It's really for people who have a lot of neck issues and back issues and stuff like that. So
I just figure it's my pillow. I just need to get a new pillow.
Okay.
When I start doing that, but also
maybe I can save you some money on a pillow. I don't know.
So no, and honestly, as a dance teacher, I do honestly believe that energy work, chiropractic work, like we do have to constantly care for our bodies, massage, like and we have to cross train. We can't just dance. We have to do other things to sustain our bodies. Because to me, going to dance class and teaching is like just going to the office. I'm doing the same thing all the time. But at the same time, like, I'm just tired. My body's like, sometimes I feel like my body steps out of itself and looks at me and says, do you have any idea how old you are?
Can we remind you?
Right. And why are you still teaching hip hop at your age? Like, you were there when it was invented. What are you doing?
I love it.
So I do believe in the care of the mind, body, and spirit. And if, people that are watching, and just, if you've just joined me on TikTok, I'm actually talking with my friend, and colleague, I guess, Debbie Loshbough, and my energy healer. She's the one that's kept me on the up and up energetically for many years now. And like, really, honestly, if I'm off, it doesn't occur to me really to call too many other people. Like if I'm in imbalance, or if I'm finding I'm walking around just mean all the time, like, okay, I need to get with Debbie.
There's just so many ways to use what I do. And, people say, what do you do? And I said, that question just makes me nuts, because I can't explain it. And what I've done is I've taken all the modalities I've learned and I put them all together. So no, I don't teach it to anybody, because the people I learned it from are the only people who teach what they teach.
Right.
So it's not a selfish thing. I'm very ethical. I don't break rules. I don't change one thing and call it mine.
Right.
I just don't do that stuff.
Which is also why I align with you very well, because you are a very ethical practitioner, and I truly appreciate that about you.
Never mind. Go ahead. I forgot what I was going to say.
Same. Hold on.
Pick a question. Any question.
Wait, hold on. Let me get to my Chat GPT. Okay. What was Chat GPT going to ask Debbie Loshbough? Okay, hold on. Let's see. No, we already answered that. Sort of. Okay. So actually, we didn't answer this. So you describe yourself as an energetic detective, right? So I know what that looks like because I work with you often. But what does that actually look like in a session? Because, okay, this, I got to say this out loud. I have to bust your chops a little bit. From day one, you've always said, I'm not intuitive, I'm not psychic. And I'm like, girl, you are. But okay, you believe what you want. And because I understand you do muscle testing.
Right. I'm under the screen, muscle testing stuff. And it looks like it's just flowing out of me, and it really isn't. Now, where I will say that I am intuitive is in the way I do things, I'll learn a technique and then I go completely make it my own. Or I'll get a hit. Like I was doing 7 chakras. We all know about 7 chakras. And then suddenly I got that I should do 12. And there were 12. And I was like, nah. And sure enough, stuff started showing up in 10, 11, 12. And then this went further and further until I work in 64 chakras. Now, can I tell you what they all do? Can I tell you where they all are? No, but they do show up. That's right. They do show up, especially with this ascension energies coming in where they either shut chakras down or blow them out. That can be any of them. And then, my work has expanded so much in the last year because, for example, when I learned Tulpacan healing, which is Dr. Karen Can, there's like 20 people in the world who are certified in this. And when I worked with her, I learned to look at things from physical, mental, emotional, energetic, spiritual, and dimensional levels. Yep. And you hear me talk about guides, and when people are like, "Ooh, spirit guides," I'm like, "Nope, charts, guides.
They're actually typed out guides."
Yeah,
I did figure that out pretty quick, though.
Yeah, well, you're
like, yeah.
And so then I started looking at different aspects. There's an ancestral aspect. There's a brain aspect. There's a betrayal aspect. Think about doing your work on aspects of like betrayal or abandonment, those things. And then I figured out, why am I working, in the physical body? Let's work in all the bodies. And so those first 6 were the ones. And now I have 38 different bodies, from the quantum body, where anything below a molecule, anything smaller than a molecule shows up, to the pain body, to just so many things. And that just expands everything. So that's kind of what I do. I'm a rebel. I take what I learn and I run with it. And I don't know where these ideas come from about aspects. And, that's the way that I am, an intuitive. Also, I do have some clairsentience. Something will pop in, like, okay, so I'm working on a client and my arm over here starts hurting and it won't shut off. It just pokes me every once in a while. And I'm like, that's the lung meridian. And I go, but is it for the client? Yes, it's for the client. And I'm like, the lung meridian doesn't have anything to do with what we're working on, but it does. I find stuff in the lung meridian and they get better. It is somehow a part of what we're working on. So I'll get a hit or something will drop in my head. It's just like, do this, do that. Right. And that is the intuitive piece of it. I don't see it all. I don't have the clairvoyance. Right. I don't really have clairaudience, although sometimes when the clairsentience comes in, I do kind of get a message. So maybe that is clairaudience. I don't know. I'm definitely clairsentient. I feel it. I'm a feeler girl for sure.
Yeah. And that makes sense doing all the energy work that you do with the energy coming in and out, and even the muscle testing. That's a thing. Like if you can recognize, of course you're clairsentient.
Yeah.
That's how you're feeling. You're being able to distinguish what's happening there.
And when I work, it sounds very mental. There's lots of words. And I'm kind of a little bit in trance when I'm doing it. So I go, it's just one. I'm sure you recognize this. It's
I do.
Your head is spinning going, what is she saying? But
honestly, after the first few times, especially once I started studying trance, once I started studying channeling and really stepping into the mediumship after you helped me energetically prepare for that, I started seeing that in you. And then every time you're like, well, I'm not a psychic, I'm like, okay.
Yeah. So it goes really fast.
You're adorable. You believe what you want.
Yeah. There are people who just need to know. And I get that. I am that person. Mm-hmm. But people want to take notes. And I'm working in your subconscious mind. So if you're taking notes, you're in your conscious mind.
Right.
And you're trying to go back and forth between conscious and it just doesn't work. So I beg people not to have to need to know.
Yep. I don't
go through you. It's energetic. Now, like I said, even though it sounds verbal and mental, there's a lot of energy moving. Mm-hmm. I've had healer friends have to reach for their puke bucket and stuff. Not that that's going to happen to you. These are very sensitive people, but it's just proof that it's not, I don't like things that are words. I don't like things that are mental. And it's not really what it is. So,
Right. All right. So I'm going to check in with my TikTok friends. So, Colin's girl is asking, who are we listening to? My friend, Debbie Loshbough. She's an energy healer. She's on all my other platforms. If you want to go over there and check them out so you can see her in person. Hi, Christy. So yeah, she's on all the other platforms. I just thought for those of you who'd only tune into TikTok, at least get checked in and like, you can go to the other things. Yeah. The other platforms that we do not mention on the Clock app. So yeah, you guys, if you want to pop over and see Debbie, you can, or just stay right there and listen. That's also, hey, Yessie, hello, my friend. I've got a guest over, and it's a Monday Night Mania. So tap the screen. And now I will say, there's some work that you did on me that I knew that I wanted to do more because, I do the QHHT and past life regression, and I was working with someone else, and I was like, I feel like that needs to separate energetically, but I don't know how, because I don't think I can do this work by myself. And you were like, kind of like I look at you when you say you're not psychic. You're like, well, let's see what the energy says.
Yeah, and I don't think I really answered your question about how it works in a session. I call myself the energetic detective because I'm going through these charts and I'm going through, everything and seeing what comes up. And I'll sort of like get a clue. Oh, go over here. Look at the dimensional body. This could be dimensional. And sometimes you just get to the point where you don't really know what's left to do. And you say, how many things are there? 12. All right. I now command those 12 things be healed and blah, 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 blah. Right. So it goes spinning around, and it's just like the lung meridian thing. I said, I get a clue and I roll with it. And, energy issues are very deep. I don't care if it's just a cold. There is stuff behind all of these things that is really powerful to clear. Everything is, Dr. Darren Wiseman, as he said, symptoms are gifts in strange wrapping paper, because they tell us what hasn't been addressed.
It's true.
It is.
It's very true. Yeah. I did a certification called Soul Speak from Dolores Candace's daughter, Julia. Mm-hmm. And I've learned that very much, that when somebody's complaining about a lot of chronic issues that they can't figure out where it's coming from, I'm like, let me grab my book.
Yep.
Let me dive into that. And a lot of times if they can't clear it, I do recommend people to go to you. I don't know how many people actually do. My friend Carrie did. And she was like, oh my gosh, it was the greatest thing ever. I love her. I want to I adore her. She's one of my best friends. But
there's just so many ways that it can be done. I can harmonize you. If it's a relationship, mm-hmm. I can harmonize you to your daughter, to your project team, to, your other, everything else. And, I can't work on somebody else without their permission, but I can clear entities and attachments, because those are never good for anybody. Right. And so I do have the permission to do that. And sometimes, I clear entities off of your friend, and suddenly your relationship is completely changed. I mean, that kind of thing can be very instant, within a day or so, as opposed to the long integration period. Right. So, and we do obviously health stuff. We do emotional stuff. Probably the easiest things for me to correct are migraines, because I go straight for the cranial nerves, and anxiety and depression, because it's the neurotransmitter system is not working right. Some parts of the brain and stuff like that. But part of the, spirit led me here is I went to massage school in 1995. It was a good year. Yeah. And, I burn out really quick. I didn't even do it full time. And I still was like, if I have to push flesh for another minute, I'm going to scream. But I had the most magnificent anatomy and physiology teacher. She had a way of making you remember things, like in the hip bone, there's the obturator, which is the hole where the leg bone pops in. OBTURATOR. And she's got a physical pelvic bone, and she goes, obturator. she taught us that the adductor, let's see, adductors is taking, no, adductors is pulling in, abductors is taking
Pulling
away.
out, right.
And she calls the adductors the birth control muscles. Now, you're not going to forget that. Okay. So I know a lot of anatomy and physiology anyway, and I'm constantly, hang on, let me go Google pelvic circulation and all the arteries and all that stuff. And people let me do it, but it benefits them. So we do that. We do relationships. We do money. I have an abundance group once a month. I'd love to do it twice a month. Groups are a great way to get work, a full hour of work cheaper for abundance. I have a list of 110 things related to abundance. And so the unfortunate thing is people want to know what topics are going to do tonight. Well, I can't tell you because it's specific to the group that shows up. Right. I will ask, according to the higher self of the group, what's the most important thing to work on? And then at the end of that we do a great meditation, and it's cheap. It's $33. So, that's very, I don't know why we don't have 100 people every time. So it's, those are some of the things I do. We can work on your career, looking for a job. We've done a lot of that. Not we, but I've done a lot of that. And a lot of emotional stuff. People just feel so overwhelmed right now in particular, right? And so stuck and unable to thrive in any way. And they think they're stepping on themselves, and to some degree they might be, but this self-blame thing has to stop. Yeah. It is not, I used to wear my low self-esteem like a badge of honor.
Right. Well, because we were conditioned to.
Exactly.
That's what we were conditioned, that we, as I'm a Gen Xer, and as a Gen X woman, I know, but we're not that far off. But like I see it in my mom as well. And we're conditioned to wear it like a badge, because if we are confident, if we are, I'm going to go on my feminism tangent.
Yes, go for it.
We're confident, if we're mouthy, if we have opinions, if we're like, girl, my hair looks good today. Or look, I feel confident in this outfit, then we're arrogant.
Yep.
If we have an opinion, we're bitchy. Like, I could go, the list goes on. And if we are not martyrs as women, then we are selfish.
Yeah. And I do a lot of programming stuff, like certain churches that have deep programming that needs to be cleared. I do trauma work without re-traumatizing you. That's the whole thing about trauma work.
And that's very, very, again, I can attest to that. Because that's, you've done a lot of trauma work on me, just removing it from the energetic bodies, things that I had done therapy for. And I will say, I don't know if I've told you this, I may have. I was on antidepressants from like age 28 when I figured out how to, I should do these, to just a few years ago, like 2 years, it's been 2 years now, maybe 3. I'm going on 3 now. No antidepressant.
I was on antidepressants when the only antidepressant available was imipramine that knocked you out.
Yeah.
And I mean, I was in full crying spells, and I had what they classified it low energy depression, where I could drink an entire pot of coffee and go back to sleep. I could not stay awake to save it was horrible. It was definitely clinical, deep depressive something. Major depressive disorder. So when I got finished with LifeLine with Dr. Wiseman, that's the first thing I worked on. And I didn't do it right because I didn't know what I was doing at the time, but I did it consistently. I didn't give myself the integration period, was the part that I missed. But I just kept doing it every day. And eventually I did get rid of it. And I'm actually in his book twice. Once by my name and once not by my name, so by a pseudonym. But that was one of the first things I worked on, and I've been off antidepressants for 10, 15 years.
It's very liberating.
It is,
I will say.
And I'm not opposed to antidepressants.
I'm not either.
Saved my life when I needed them.
They did for me too.
Yep.
And it was just, I was finally in a place where I could focus on my mind, body, spirit, health, wellness. And again, I did a lot of work. I've done a lot of work with you over the years where I'm just like, I'm overwhelmed. I don't even know what to do. Like even the ADHD management, like every time I'd have a session with you, I could actually, the fog would clear for a while. Then I just overbook myself and it makes it worse, but that's my own doing. My own poor choices.
We can work on that.
I know. But you know what? I got to be honest. I know I get overwhelmed, but I absolutely, I got to do this thing or TikTok turns me off. It makes me line up a puzzle piece. Okay. To make sure I'm still there. It's weird. Totally forgot what I was saying. See that ADHD thing. I'm telling you. Oh, I do a lot, but here's the difference. Now I'm in a point in my life where I do a lot, but it's all things I want to do.
Right. And you can do a lot, but you also have to be the queen of self-care if you do that.
Yes. And I have learned boundaries. Yes. But I have learned, and that's something that I truly, I've learned over the years, especially after having that feeling of having an energy clearing, when I get that reset and I'm just like, okay, I'm feeling better. I can feel it. And I'm more aware when it's coming on, when I'm doing too much. And I've learned, you know what, today I'm going to sit on my deck and I'm going to read a book and I'm not going to worry about my dishes because guess what? They'll still be there. Yes. I'm not going to worry about doing 1,000 things. You know, I'm just going to relax. And you know what? I'm going to take a bath. I don't care if it's 10:30 at night. I'm going to take a bath.
I am going to color in an adult coloring book.
An adult coloring book. Yep.
A meditation coloring book.
Yes. And I get to a point where when my husband comes home at night, if I come home, a lot of times he'll want to work and I go, no, you've already worked 14 hours today. I'm not going to work. I'm not working right now because that's my boundary. And we need to have a reset. Let's watch nonsensical TV. Let's sit on the couch and I don't know.
My latest gig is shelter dogs choose their families, choose who's going to adopt them. I'm like hooked on this stuff. And it's just like, oh,
right.
Or really, baby videos or whatever it is.
Oh my gosh. Yes. I tell people all the time, if you're feeling bummed out, you need a vibe check. Check your vibe. If you're feeling like you're just kind of sad, bummed out, to boost that energy, get that really quick response, watch mouthy husky videos, cat videos, laughing babies, find something cute on YouTube that will raise your vibration. Then, and only then, should you make decisions. Should you engage in conversations? Should you talk to other people? Reset your energy a bit, and that's okay. That's part of self-care. If you're going to be integrated into society, even if it only means one person in your house, that's still society. If you're interacting with other humans, you have a responsibility for your own energy too.
Yeah.
You got to protect yourself, because what if my husband comes home and he's in a foul mood?
Right.
I can either take that on or I can protect myself and then see if I can help him manage his energy a little bit better by not working. But once he gets home, if I'm home, he's home, I do not work.
Good.
But I'm still working on programming him. He thinks that if there's a commercial on, he can't just sit. He has to go do a chore. But after all the years of him doing nothing around the house, I let him. He's like, I'm gonna do some chores. I'm like, okay. Because that's my self-care of knowing that I don't have to do it.
I hear you.
Also, in fairness, he sits at a desk all day.
Yeah.
So he comes home and he's just like full of energy, and he's confused why our children are like this. It's funny. And but I teach dance. I'm on my feet for 5 hours. Plus I've spent the day doing mediumship. So I'm like, once I'm on the couch, I'm like, I'm done. We're done here. We are done. We're going to watch some TV or because I don't turn the TV on at all during the day at all. So we're learning energy management in our house.
Good.
But you're right. Boundaries, energy management, and because it doesn't do you any good to do any of this energy clearing, to do any of this work, to spend the money with someone like you. And really, I got to say, you're very reasonable in cost. Like, I have no problem spending the money with you that I do, because it's worth every single penny.
And I have people that actually undo the work subconsciously.
Well,
I
and
got
that's what I was getting at.
a
Was
friend
like,
that I'm working on nerves in his hand and stuff, and it keeps not getting better. And I'm like, by the numbers, it's much better. I'm not sure why you're not feeling it. And then I ask, how much resistance is there? 0. That's good. How much willingness is there? Also 0. So
right,
not pushing it away, but also not pulling it in.
right.
And then I finally got to the point when, how much of the work is he undoing when we're complete? It was like 70%. So
Yeah.
doesn't work
Well,
very well. Nor
and
is
that's
it
the other
conscious,
thing.
totally subconscious, but still.
Yes. Well, and also, unless, I think it's important to remember, and maybe this, we can wrap up our time together for this. I think it's important to remember, if you're going to be willing to spend the money, step into the space of inviting a healer into your energy to work on that, you also have to be willing to make the changes necessary and and recognize what caused it to begin with. And be willing to step into that space of, how do I make the changes? There are people that are like, but I went to a Reiki person and I felt good for an hour and then I was back to normal, because you did nothing to consciously make changes.
And
And
it's the layered thing. It's not
it
a
is.
one-time thing. It doesn't happen overnight. And how long did it take you to get into the woods? It might take you that
Might
long
take
to
a
get out.
while. Absolutely. And I mean, it took a long time for you to do the work on me, to get me out of my own way and release that
But you didn't
fear.
know what I know now.
I know. But releasing the fear, even going back to mediumship and getting in my own way energetically. And a lot of it was just my own fear of judgment, fear of whatever. And as we released all that, I was able to have those moments of clarity. And I would see within a couple of weeks of us working together, especially when we'd focus on my mediumship and clearing that out, the more I was open to that change, I would see huge progress in my mediumship. And it was just, it's like, after so long of doing it, it was all out of the way. And I just skyrocketed. And I'm still very mindful of that, knowing that if I kind of get in a funk, or if I'm just like, why am I just not connecting very well? I know I need to do some energy work
Yeah.
and get out of my own way. So I'm a big fan. I don't know if you realize that, but
I do realize that. I'm
I'm
so
a big
grateful.
fan. I'm very grateful for you. And I love that you're a rogue, that you're just like, I'm going to learn all these things and do what I want.
And that's why I call it energetic fusion, because I learned all of these things and I put them all. That's the gift I have, is I know how to put them all together and do, there are some that I can't do. There are modalities I've spent $80,000 on it that I never do. It's a crapshoot, but
Yeah.
I do know how I'm supposed to work these things together. And that's why it's unique, because there's no way anybody else could do that, just because they haven't had the same classes I've had and they don't know how to put it together like I do. So
Right.
I'm not trying to be arrogant. I'm just saying my work is unique.
It's your own soup. And I would say
Soup is the correct word.
yes, it's a nice little soup. And I would say, and I think that's also why I align really well with you, not just for your ethics, not just for your work ethic as well, as far as like, you're always learning, you're always traveling and going to conferences and always learning. And that you are a student of the universe as well. That's how I am. And
I went to a friend who's also a medium, and she said, this is what your mother's saying. You need this many modalities, if not less. And when you open yours, it's a scroll that rolls across the entire floor. You do not need any more classes.
But I believe
fun. I go to workshops,
yes.
Is that crazy?
And we may not integrate every single thing that we learn into our practice. There are things that I learn out in the wild that I'm like, well, that seemed fun. That was cool. I'm not going to do it.
Right.
But, or it's that one thing, just that one thing in that moment where I'm working with someone, I go, and then my guides will go, hey, remember that time you went to a workshop? We made you travel across the state to do that. And now, do it now. And it might be that one-off thing.
Yep. That's the
You know?
question. It just comes down to
yes. And so, and the thing that I fully believed that,
their
that you worked doing all that work on me and allowing that to come in, just me trusting that information coming in. That's huge. That's huge. Kind of getting out of your own way and understanding.
And on the website, on the meet and greet, I had my favorite testimonial. This person was such a skeptic, completely a skeptic. Oh, you're going to sit in your house on Zoom, and I'm going to sit in my house on Zoom, and something's going to happen. No. So
buckle up.
I love
buckle up because it's about to happen. Yeah. Well, and I would say I went in as a skeptic, but at that point, it was like my last option. I had done everything that I knew to do. I'd done all the things.
A lot of people
and it took my therapist, my former therapist, saying, "Oh, for God's sake, go see Debbie." And she was surprised that I had never worked really with a healer before. Mm-hmm. And so, yeah, it was life changing. And it's been all these years later. And now you're on my show because now I'm a medium and you helped me get there.
You have a show.
And now I've got a show. I'm practically Kelly Clarkson with my TV show and 7 people watching. Woo! Oh yeah. So, all right. Well, thank you so much for being a part of my Monday Night Mania here on the Crowned Medium.
Fun.
And I'd love to have you back anytime you have new cool things coming up. Let me know. Tell people where they can find you.
Well,
to book with you or whatever they need to do.
hhcollectivewellness.com/Debbie, because that's easy to remember.
Mm-hmm.
Or you can go to my website, which is energeticdetective.com. And there's some stuff there that'll give you some ideas. I have some blogs there, not a lot, but some good ones. And then if you go to book something, it takes you to the collective site, the HH Collective site. But if you go out to hhcollectivewellness.com/Debbie, watch the meet and greet. That tells you everything you need to know. So
okay, I'm putting the energeticdetective.com and then
hhcollectivewellness.com.
Oh, it's telling me an error occurred. So maybe I'll add that later.
Okay.
It just occurred on Facebook, not the YouTubes.
Oh.
Yeah, well, shocker. All right. Well, thank you, Debbie, so much for coming on and talking with me and letting me brag on you for a while. I always feel it's weird when people brag on me. So thank you for letting me do that with you.
It's an art. You have to really learn to be okay.
I know, you do. That was a hard thing. I remember a funny little story, very little quick. I had somebody tell me, you should learn how to accept compliments. I'm like, I do. And they're like, no, you don't. But also, if you think about it, every time somebody says, you have nice hair today, and you say, no, I don't, you're calling them a liar. Are you calling me a liar? I'm like, sorry.
And also, if you can't receive a compliment, you can't receive money.
Right. And listen, I need the money because someone's got to buy all these crowns, and my husband doesn't seem to want to do it.
I love it.
I got a lifestyle I want to keep up, so I need the abundance.
All right.
All right. Well, thank you, everybody. We're going to do my little outro here. Look, we're fancy. We're fancy over here. So hang out for a minute, Debbie, and we'll reconnect once this is over. Thank you all for hanging out in the TikTok world. I appreciate you listening in. I hope you guys learned something. Debbie Loshbough. Make sure to check her out at the energeticdetective.com or HH Collective Wellness.com /Debbie. I got it. I am wearing green for money because I'm all about abundance. Hello. All right. Thank you all so much for coming in. And we will chat soon. See you Thursday. The rest of you people, Thursday morning, 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. All right. Thank you, friends.
Thank you for watching. Be sure to subscribe now, and we will see you next time on the